many times. Cursed Hollow is going to be game number 4 here, the map pick of Raven. First ban will go to Tempest. They'll have their second first ban of the series and of the tournament. So, see what they decide to draft. When they had it in the game 1, they prioritized the Genji and the Li Ming. On this map, the global play, though, is going to be very important. We'll see if Dahaka gets through the draft, as it was actually oddly absent for the BOE, even though it's a 2-player map. Did not see him there.
Well, Raven was rarely, almost never a team that goes for the global, though. But with Darvish in right now, with that Falstad pick, and maybe sometimes Dehaka, even though in phase number 1 they picked Dehaka, but the usage of the global was not so perfect. But with having Darvish in, with the change of roster, you just saw a game where they won against Tempest because they had the global soak, they had the lead, they know how to snowball into a game, and that's exactly how you do it. Let's see how Raven try to come on top on this first Hollow, game number 4.
Uther will be the first ban here for Tempest. And for Raven, see what they want to remove now. Last time we saw this, they removed the Anubarak. That was on Battlefield of Eternity. See if they decide to ban the Genji instead because of the priority of that for Raven. Sorry, for Tempest. Going to be the Anub again. So very mirrored draft from game number 1. Still continues to be the case.
It's the big Genji. And now they're less likely to... They can still go for the global later on. But with this pick, Raven, they can... If they want to go hard in and do double global, they can go Falstad and Dehaka from the beginning, limiting Lockdown Zero Pool also, and not letting him being on Falstad. That would actually push them to kind of at ETCs for stage dive or all the way up to Illidan for the hunt to actually catch up to the global. So having both taking both global seems also as an okay card here.
When on BOE, they committed to the Stitches Malfurion in this rotation. I don't think we're going to see that on Cursed Hollow, just not as effective. You're not going to be having as many hook opportunities as you would on BOE. So I like where you're saying either the Haka or the Falstad would be nice for global. And they're going to wait for quite some time before we get into this one. Could be Zeratul as well. Illidan Abathur, a very map-specific niche pick here, and I like it. Does give a lot of time for Tempest to find the counters, to find the answers, because they showed it so soon. Ooh. We might see the Arthas pick here.
Usually, if you go for Illidan Abathur, it's the later picks. You don't really show it from the very beginning because Tempest can literally form a team comp against Illidan, not bring in the Lily, bring in some blinds. Like Cassia can also blind Illidan when he comes in. You can have Arthas as your frontliner. When Illidan dives in, limits all the attack speed and also damages Illidan so hard. Reduced all the movement speed too. So let's see Tempest, after watching those first 2 picks, how they counter pick Illidan Abathur, which seems super strong on this map.
I think Arthas Tyrael is not out of the question. Tyrael pairs well with the Genji. You have the extra stun on the Illidan if you want to go Judgment. Li Ming, though, prioritize, but they will take Arthas with this.
Of course.
They can now ban the Tyrael in this phase, so the Li Ming is obviously good because the burst is real. You could delay tribute turn-ins, or sorry, collection. The channeling of the tributes, you can hit Illidan, whose evasion will not affect that range damage, including disintegrate. So I like this. Is kind of how we've seen the drafting coming in for MVP Miracle, the high prioritization of Li Ming no matter what, basically. So the second ban here, it's tough for Raven.
It's tough. Maybe you just, the easy ban I guess is Malfurion is the top support, unless you are thinking of taking it yourselves. Because the Malfurion route and connecting with Arthas route, that's double route already. And against, when you have Illidan on your team, you don't want that to be the dangerous source against Illidan.
I think if they ban Malfurion, the Tempest just bans Rhaegar and says, haha, take your Karzim Palm for your Illidan. I'm going to ban ETC. for the CCs that can come in for Illidan here. Not a whole lot of interrupts from Mosh or what Raven is going to draft into. Even if they had the Tyrael, there's not much there.
ETC ban is it's a weird one for sure. Of course, they had a super hard time against ETC in Spider Queen, but on Cursed, it's not as much. So I definitely think that they went around a lot on the second ban.
Tassadar over the Tyrael here for protection on the Illidan. Don't want to allow the extra lifesteal and empower Illidan to be essentially unkillable. This means we'll almost 100% see the Tyrael for Raven here. What kind of ranged damage? All right, it's been a long night. We will see for Raven is the big next question.
If you're not gonna go full in Illidan, Avatar, they can still Zeratul. I mean, go for Li Ming. We just saw crazy clone Zeratul going for Faulted and Li Ming in series number 1. They can still do that together if they want to go all dive in. But to talk about more balanced team comp though, they can still bring in some mage. Kalthas is also an option, but let's see what to counter Genji and Li Ming. We need some Tyrael to have that spell damage. Yes. Spell armor, I mean.
Well, I think Tyrael is really about the sanctification here. You're going to have the Illidan hunt in, most likely. You might even go Metamorphosis with Abathur. Either way, the sanctification empowers Illidan when he dives in, gives him the extra shields. He's got the attack speed buff from the Abathur symbiote. Then later on, we'll have the Abathur clone coming in. All these things will really be strengthened by the Tyrael pick, just like the old days. So I think the Tyrael is a must. Obviously, the spell damage reduction is very much a bonus against Li Ming. As we move into the final phase here for Tempest, maybe look to the Malfurion for the root to take away the mobility of Illidan. It's going to have to be really good accuracy on those. Brightwing, I was going to say, is the other one that's specifically to counter the Illidan with the polymorphs. That is what they go with. Not really a Kharazim situation, not really viable here.
So rather than giving blind, you can also polymorph to put on extra damage to not let Illidan escape anywhere for the time being. Raven, they've been hiding this last pick though. They still need a ranged DPS or a mage of some sort. Or they can literally go all in Illidan with even Zarya coming in possibly.
I like Greymane here. He works well with the Tyrael, he works well with the dive, he's got good range damage. Can be cloned as well. Right-wing polymorphs, you sanctification, and the Greymane engages him with go for the throat. Could even be a Wizened Duelist comp. So I'm leaning towards Greymane. Other mages, Lunara, something that we could see. Does really well against the Genji. As long as her positioning is good against Li Ming and the Arthas, then shouldn't be too big of a problem. But they are going to go all in. No traditional ranged DPS on the side of Raven. It's all melees here. Zarya to close it out. Our first Zarya of HGC Korea's Phase 2.
Compared to Phase 1, we have not really seen Zarya at all, but this is Illidan all in. Can they make it work, though? That will be the question.
That's the big question. Raven with a surprise comeback win on game number 3 on Infernal Shrines. On Cursed Hollow, their opponent's map pick. Can they make this Genji all-in comp work and force a game 5? Let's find out right now. In blue, Team Tempest. Honkono on the Genji. He's currently 3-0. Hyde on his old Brightwing. H82 on Arthas. Sign on Muradin. And Lockdown on Li Ming.
And in red, Raven Darvish on Zarya, Hamlin on Illidan, NMX on Avatar, Diong on Tyrael, and Chom on Rehgar.
So Zarya, I feel like, should definitely build into auto attacks. Either that or grenade. These are the ways that she can add some extra DPS into the fights, especially in range. They're going to push really hard with level 1. She is going to go into the auto attacks. At level 1, she was holding it for a moment. We see Hyde immediately teleport down. Power of globals here.
Tempest knew that they were going to go for any lane. So Brightwing was just standing in the middle, knowing that, and they sent Leeming to the bottom. They knew something was coming. Great defense coming out from the start.
The problem with drafting all in into this Illidan is that you did it knowing, and I say you, but I mean Raven, did it knowing that there was going to be a Brightwing on their opponent's side. That will just completely nullify Illidan for several seconds. This Abathur is not going to save the Zarya who gets caught here either. When the shields come down, and the symbiote comes in, and Illidan dives forward, that's when the Brightwing polymorph is going to come out. Obviously, in the face of Sanctification, that won't be the case, but in every other scenario, it's going to be very difficult to make the Illidan pick work. Amwon may have gone a bit too deep on this one, too. Does have the evade temporarily, but there's the kill. Stormbolt to secure it. 2-0 here so far for Tempest, already in the early laning phase.
Early Afterhat does not do too much damage or nor give protection to Illidan. And without Zarya, he did go a little too far away from his side, so that's a kill. And of course, I think Brightwing Pig is brilliant here coming in. We saw the CCs connecting and Poly right after when the CC was over. Hyde on Brightwing. You can always trust him, of course.
Soon we'll see Shuriken Mastery coming out from Hong Kong again here at 4. Yep, locks it in. Greater polymorph for Brightwing, so everything you expect to see. Upgrading the Reverberation for Muradin. The larger Tempest for Arthas. All the things that you would build against an Illidan. Dominance, because Leeming only has one talent at level 4. So
hey, what about Orb?
Zay's Vengeance, I think that's what it's called.
Triumph Vibrate, isn't it?
Triumvirate?
Yes.
Pretty sure both those talents removed G-Clef. It's only Dominance. Dominance 100% pick rate in Korea. That's all I know. Well, Raven has the Feral Heart, so building it to sustain here with the Wolf Run for Rehgar, the Wolf build as I call it. It's the build I pick. Going into it here, as we saw earlier this evening, I like it. The sustain build. H82 gets caught here actually and dove upon right now. The channel is going on at the same time, so even if they get the pick, they will lose the tribute. It looks like H82 dies to the mine there. Good coordination actually for Raven. Calling out, let him go. If he walks that way, he's going to die to the Toxic Nest. So they actually pick up the double here. Like to see moves like that as Hong Kong split pushes top with a Siege Giant Cap. They get the tribute. Still 2 picks for Raven, which almost catches them up in EXP.
That's exactly what they want to go for. The tribute will go to Tempest, though, even though they want to fight. They're really going for the macro. They're not going to let them have the team fight. They're going around it, and they have the counters to against the Illidan here. Arthas, Brightwing, everything together. But when they're all together, this time they caught 2 off guard. But when it's a 5v5, I think Illidan has to be a little bit more careful when he dives in. When there's Arthas and all the CCs available on the other side.
I mean, you got bullied in the top lane there just for a moment. The rotation's coming in faster. Darvish committing to several grenades here to try to slow down the tribute channel. He is successful temporarily. Arthas is channeling it now. They're going to try to dive these turrets. Hyde will get picked off yet again, but this is a trade for a pick, whereas the bigger picture is going to be the tribute comes in. They also got the solo cap here when Hyde was able to take it. Remember, he's playing Rehgar or Brightwing. They get the first cap here, and then now they're just going to clear this up. They have Curse Point 1 pick away from getting the Curse. Obviously, that's what Curse Point means.
Yeah, of course, Brightwing just used the teleport before going down, so it will take a little bit longer to go all the way up to the top lane, but of course, having two tributes and you are 1 away when Raven does not have any right now. having the Curse, of course, pushes all pressures all lanes together. So for Tempest, this is a good news for sure when they have the map to control.
So we're reaching level 10 here about the same time for these two. Raven getting those picks means that the EXP is really even right now. So when you have this situation, no one can really boss at the timing you'd like to. Obviously, if Tempest got bossed, it would lead to the Curse no matter what. They just don't have enough of a lead to try to go for it right now. It's actually red side tribute spawn at top. This is a favorable tribute location for Raven. They're going to rotate in. Abathur's going to body soak in the bush in the bot lane to try to help them catch up. They're about maybe 20% behind in EXP right now. Just need to not overextend trying to get this. Lockdown's already found and picked. The teleportation in, the phase shift way too late here for Brightwing. He's going to come in for a second one. Polymorph is good though. On to Hamlin. He does escape for the time being. Body soaking continuing in the bot lane. And Raven's about to take an EXP lead.
That's right. So much shielding available for Hamlin. He can go in, dive in, and even survive right after all the poly. There's a shield coming in from Zarya and the Avatar. So with lots of protection, they can fight pretty strong. And of course, Lockdown overstepping a little bit, not being a little bit cautious of what Illidan can do when he's stuck right next to you. And of course, hitting those skill shots when Liming is going, Illidan is going around you is pretty hard.
Yeah. Well, we do see the push away of Abathur in the bot lane. It's going to be a boss for a boss here. There's a boss clear. Pretty solid for both sides. Tempest has the better siege. And Raven has really quick clear with Zarya going into the auto attack build. And of course Illidan. So they're actually going to attack with this. I like that they knew they got the boss first. They're going to actually try to push with this. They're going to get this wall down immediately. This is so strong when you have Illidan and Zarya together to clear this very quick. They're going to get the Siege Giant cap. So it actually forces the reaction of Tempest. They're going to go up here. They leave Brightwing down to get the extra soak in the bot lane to work on that fort. It's actually really nice for Tempest too because the tribute comes in at the exact same point where the boss is, so the boss isn't getting split push pressured on. Brightwing already teleports in. Here, they're going to dive in. Illidan in the front lines. NMX comes in with the clone. Sanctification used. Great usage here. Total of vulnerability. Dragonblade not able to do much for Honkono here. He's pushed away by Zarya's Heroic. Now with the deflect, maybe they could turn this fight around. Ancestral still available.
Does do a lot of damage, but there's the first kill. Reset's coming out for Lockdown. He's getting the heal back with the dominance too. There's going to be a wipe. And just leaving Illidan now with the quality. Last one.
That was all won, really, by the positioning of Tempest and the resets coming out. Without those resets for Lockdown, this would not have been a one fight. Really good reaction there to the clone as well. The Sanctification was beautiful, but the splits were real for Tempest. They were super low.
Also, the expulsion zone was really good, leaving Genji out of the fight on top. He was getting people on. He was trying to come in with the Dragon Blade, but he was popping off because of the expulsion zone all the time. Removed a lot of damage. Could have went for Raven. That was close. I think that was not like a. It was a 4 kill to 0 at the end, but that could have turned around with Hamlin surviving a little bit more. Yeah,
the fight looked one-sided when you looked at the kill feed afterwards, when you looked at the UI, but if you watched the fight, you could see just how close it was. Raven's so close to making it happen with the expulsion zone. And the Sanctification really well used, the clone timing as well. So Metamorphosis was the choice, obviously, to try to have the longer sustained fights as we just saw there. I think this is the better choice, especially against Polymorph. If you hunt in and get polyed immediately, then that's disastrous. So Brightwing's getting some split, split pushing, split soaking top. That extra global. The keep in the bot lane is actually already under attack by minions. As the curse expires here, we're going to see the dive in. Here's the teleport coming in from Hyde. They're going to try to turn this around. Poly goes down. Sanctification, though, still goes off here with the Teriel. DeYoung is able to make it happen. That's the pick on the Lockdown. No more real ranged DPS here. No resets. The Ancestral here is good. DeYoung still goes down. But this is already a one fight for Raven. Honkono pops the Dragon Blade. But there's just no way they can get the damage done here. Trying to chase down Chum, though. Will he make it happen? He's trying. The Blink Heal comes in. There's the Poly. Honkono gets away. Darver's at full energy. He's stunned. Does get healed up here one more time, but he's going to finally fall. What a turnaround. What mechanical play coming out yet again for Honkono. Dives in at the end. Woo. And that's another turnaround and the full 4-man wipe. What a sick fight from Honkono, though.
That was a crazy crazy fight for both sides. It's, again, 4 kills to 0. But Illidan did so much work. The focus to 1 actually took down Li Ming, but Kokoro turning everything around with the Dragon Blade, escaping at the right moment, Cleanse coming in at the perfect time from Hyde, the heals, the blink heal. This team fight was amazing mechanically from both sides. I gotta give it to both sides here. But of course, Tempest won the fight and leading in 1.5 level lead ahead.
Well, 16 is on the cusp here. This is going to be really big for them, especially with Mirror Ball coming out to add that extra damage to finish off the Illidan or the Illidan clone with the extra magic missiles. Holding it currently, as it was under attack. We're going to see landing momentum taken here. So, or sorry, heavy impact. The stun coming out at level 16. And actually, it's a full teleport build for Li Ming with how much she's been dove upon here. We're going to see Diamond Skin.
We haven't seen that for a long time. I don't think we've seen that even once this year. It was the last year's build when Li Ming just came out, I think.
Well, it's extra protection against the dive. She's struggled in some of these fights, and you can get a lot of shields when you get the Calamity damage coming in. You get the resets, and you get the extra Diamond Skins coming over, the extra protection. So a situation that calls for it, I'd say. And everything else pretty standard, but the extra stun coming out from Muradin can really help turn the fights. Muradin's already somewhat of a soft counter with his attack speed slow onto Illidan if he can make those happen consistently. The Storm Bolt's coming in, and now the extra Dwarf Toss to get the stun. Darvish actually taking some serious damage here, baiting Hyde in, however. Hyde's going to look for the teleport. Does get it off, but has to use it for a fight.
This is the problem coming up from Raven. The reason why Genji was allowed to do all the Dragon Blade damage is because Raven does not have any CCs. Genji can do whatever he wants to, just like you saw Brightwing just escaping because there's no 6C CC at all, except for, I guess, Expulsion Zone is part of a CC that Raven can have, but that's it. Nothing else.
It's going to be a boss for a boss, the faster trade for Tempest, just slightly. Their boss will go directly to the keep, whereas Raven's boss will have to deal with the keep wall. We are 1-1 on tributes right now. The next spawn location will actually determine a lot. A little bit of RNG coming into this one for sure. Raven decides to defend because this goes directly to the keep. They don't want to push, because Tempest could buy a lot of time on the defense there. Ended up with a massive exchange in their favor. The tribute is at top. Abathur's actually going to look over to sneak over and get it. NMX with a risky play here, but if he gets away with it, they will be on curse point. He's going to need to help defend, though. He's going to need to put the symbiotes down. Hamlin's diving into the backline. Lockdown, even with the Diamond Skin here. Taking a lot of damage. Ancestral fails to connect, though. Tyrael's down. Sanctification didn't go off either. Lockdown gets another Diamond Skin here with the reset.
And it's a clone onto Zarya this time, and the real Zarya is already gone. Hamlin is the only one without the clone on the side. Just jumps onto the boss and barely survives, but it seems like the game is already over, though.
Well, this is going to be GG. The last fight taken here. Abathur will get the tribute, but that is not going to matter in the end. The Poly's coming down here onto the clone, and that is going to be the core going down. Boss will take it out. The keep being damaged earlier definitely didn't do any favors to Raven. The missed Ancestral, the missed Sanctification. These mistakes will cost Raven game number 4. A hard-fought game 3. They made the comeback on Infernal Shrines. They were looking for a game 5. They had the momentum in their favor. They all-ined on the Illidan comp. Even into a Brightwing, they made some team fights work. But the last one, the one that mattered most, that's where they fell flat.
Hey, game 1 and 2, I gotta say, they looked almost disastrous in terms of team play and everything else, starting from the draft. But after, I guess, something happened, and then after the small break in between game number 2 and starting from game number 3, they made it work. They brought in Falstad for the global. They had a theme, even in game 5. Illidan comp, all in Illidan comp, which we don't see too often in Korea at all. Kind of worked in some team fights, but not even having a CC really costed them big at the end.
Brightwing polymorphs really being really powerful in those fights. The targeting that we saw into the Tyrael stopped the Sanctification. The Ancestral doesn't go off. These are the moments that cost them the big fight in the end. Rotation-wise, I feel like Tempest had a slight edge on Cursed Hollow, but not like they played really badly. We had the Rhaegar coming in to take the cap. Solo Rhaegar cap. Good timings of the caps. good tribute deny tactics there. We saw the auto attack build coming out from Zarya. Perhaps the grenade build could have been stronger for tribute denial, but they needed the extra DPS. So I like how they played the draft. I thought it was a bit all in, especially when you're down on match point against you. It's risky to make a choice like that, but who's your MVP of the series, G-Clef?
I actually want to pick an MVP from Raven this time if I can.
You can't, but I'll let you say it.
Hamlin.
Of course.
Yes.
The Zeratul play.
He has shown his inner hidden potential today, I think, which we have never seen throughout phase number 1. I think he has what it takes to actually step onto H82, the missing power on that team now, and I think he can step in. And from Tempest side though, they're all MVPs, but Honkono on the Genji, I think he will get the MVP this time. Last time was Hyde, I believe.
Yeah. So I would have to agree with you. Lockdown had some cool plays. He went into the diamond skin there at the end for the extra protection. But I'll have to agree. I think Hong Kong's Genji will probably get it, and I thought it was really impressive. That sick play we saw in Cursed Hollow where they turned the fight around, where he had like 10% health left and then came in to get the heals, the blink heal. So we are going to jump into that interview now. Find out who it is that we will interview.
Let's see.
It is H82.
자, 저희 인터뷰로 다시 돌아왔습니다. 먼저 축하합니다.
Back in the interview.
우승에
이어서 2연승. 3 matches won already.
자, 본인 소개 간단하게 좀 부탁드리도록 하겠습니다.
네, 템페스트에서 서버 탱커를 맡고 있는
I'm subtank in
페파리라고
Tempest.
아,
I'm
반갑습니다.
H82.
템페스트에서
네.
네.
And now you are
서브 탱크를 맡고 있는
in
페파리
Tempest.
선수예요.
일단은 뭐
때문에.
제가 질문하고 싶은 건 딱 있어요.
네.
네,
course, King has an
3세트에서
interview.
이 알라라크.
Question.
네, 어떤 식으로 픽이 됐고
Here,
저희가
Alarak.
확인한 장면에서는
네.
How did you guys
알라라크가
come up
픽이
with the
되는
pick?
동시에 약간 이렇게 손짓이 나왔었거든요.
네.
네,
이랬었는데.
나는 좀 싫다 아니면은 뭐
We also
약간
saw on the
사양하겠다,
camera someone
거부하겠다 이런 움직임이
waving
있는지
like
뭐
they were
대화 내용이
refusing.
굉장히 궁금해요.
For the
저희 팀이
the last pick.
그 의견이 좀 갈리긴 했었거든요.
네.
그
Of course, we had
알라라크에
lots of
대한
opinions for
그-
the last pick.
저랑 홍코노 그 형은 알라라카 좋다고 생각했는데
Myself and Nkono said Alarak
나머지
seems to be
형들은
very good.
아니라고
But the
생각해가지고
rest
네.
그
did not say so.
좀 조합 미스가 좀 났던 것 같아요. 그 부분에서.
So I think we
사실
had some
중간중간에
team
그
comp issues there.
초중반까지는
It
또
did not
알라라카가
really
좀
come in
애매했었던,
together.
네.
그런 상황이 좀 있었는데 그때도 뭐 서로 당연히 뭐 믿음이 좀 있었겠죠.
네. 우리 그 뭐야 락다운 형이
네.
알라라카 자신 있다고 해가지고
But
네.
the lockdown still had
좀더
confidence
게임 잘
going in
돌아갈
with
수
Alarak.
있을 줄 알았는데 근데 그 전체적인 문제는 알라라카에 있던 게 아닌 것 같아요.
네.
I don't think the problem was all on Alarak though.
조합 이해도가 좀 낮아져가지고
It was more of our
그러면은
understanding of the
이
team comp.
질문과 이어서 알라라크 하면 사실 해파리.
네.
네, 굉장히 유명해요.
네.
레벨도 굉장히 높은 걸로도 다 알려져
And
있는데
Alarak,
네.
of
왜
course, you've
하지 않았나요?
shown a lot of
그-
times. Why did you not
그냥
play it though this time?
저희 팀에 알라라크든 뭐든 그 좀 잘하는 그 피지컬이 좀 많이 필요한 캐릭터를 잘하는 선수가 많아가지고
네.
We have lots of
그냥 돌려가면서
lots of
쓸수 있죠.
players who
저보다
can actually play all the
잘할 수도
mechanical
있어요,
heroes.
어떤 형이.
저보다 잘할 수도 있다라고 얘기할 때 말을 굉장히 더듬었어요.
저보다 잘할 수도 있어요.
앞으로 뭐
And
그
I
알라라크가
thought
등장한다면
Lockdown was
저는
the better
굉장히
one
보고
on
싶은 그런
Alarak
선수라서
today.
네.
네, 이렇게 물어봤습니다.
자, 레이븐을 상대를 해보니 적으로 상대해보니까 좀 어때요, 느낌이?
Of course, how does it feel to
약간
go against
한
Raven
세트를
now?
따이고 나서 좀
지고
지고 나서
네.
좀 그 약간 긴장이 좀 됐어요.
그래요?
네.
Losing
원래는 쉽게
a game off
이길 것
them
같았었는데.
네,
It
그 약간
really got us
팀상성이라는 게좀
caught off guard
네,
and made us
놀랐어요.
nervous for a bit.
그래요?
네.
그렇다면 이어서
네.
템페스트를 이제 레이븐일 때 이겨봤잖아요.
네.
근데
And you
오늘은
defeated
진짜
Tempest as
템페스트로서
Raven
레이븐을
last
상대했어요.
season.
본인이 레이븐에 있을 때와
네.
지금의 레이븐
And compare
어떤가요?
Raven when you were in Raven
그냥 어디가 더
and
나은
today's
거보다는
Raven.
그냥 느낌이
Which
좀
one
어땠나요?
네.
seems stronger or better?
그냥 제가
많이
있을 때랑
순화했네요.
비슷한
아,
것 같아요.
그럼요.
제가 있을 때랑 비슷했던 것 같아요.
비슷하다?
그래요?
I think it's about the same when I was back in
그렇다는
Raven
얘기는
right now.
순위권이 굉장히 아래쪽에 있을 것 같다는 느낌일까요?
네.
Is that also
알겠습니다.
referring to
네,
that
네,
Raven will be
대답을
on the bottom of the chart?
생각되기도 하고. 어쨌든
네,
뭐
H82
레이븐은 상대로 승리를 가져갔고
decides
그리고
not to answer that.
템페스트가 이번 시즌 굉장히 강력하다는 이야기를 듣고 있어요.
네.
어디까지 올라갈 것 같은지.
We've been
이번-
hearing Tempest will be one of the
전반기.
stronger teams in Korea.
네.
Where do you see
스톰
yourself
클래시로
going?
나갈 것 같습니다.
그래요?
네.
다 자기 본인들 팀들이 다 가겠다는 거예요. 지금
I think
이렇게
we
되면은
can
저희가 가진 팀
Probably go
티켓은
to the
몇장
Eastern
없는-
네,
Clash.
이스턴
여덟 팀이 다 가겠다 그러면-
클래시를 가겠다는 의지를 지금
네.
Which is
표현하셨는데
the
일단은
MC said
L5와
everybody's saying that.
정말 강팀이 있잖아요.
부산이 있죠.
일단 리빌딩이 좀 이루어졌는데
There are lots of roster
템페스트도 리빌딩이
changes.
됐고요.
네.
All including
지금
Tempest.
평가하고 있는 그 두 팀 만났을 때 어떨 것 같으세요?
And the other two that you're worrying about, how do you think it's coming though?
블랙은 그
And Black.
메리데이 그 지원가 보는 그 공석이 좀 많이 클 것 같아요.
I think
그래요?
네.
because
오.
they're
그럼
missing the
L5 는?
support now, I
그리고
think that's going to be
노블레스
the biggest
공석이
question
많이
for them.
그러면은
오.
The biggest
템페스트는요?
homework.
템페스트는
아,
오히려
공-
How about
보강이 됐죠.
teamwork?
아,
How about
아니,
Tempest?
정말 뭐
I think Tempest is
지금
actually
예상
better.
순위가 1위가 템페스트네요.
네, 뭐 그러겠다.
And are you
그런
putting
얘기하는
Tempest on
거잖아요.
top of
그쪽은
MVP
너무
Black?
구멍이니까 지금
네.
새로 들어온 선수들도 다 구멍이라는 느낌이 아니에요 지금.
보강이 됐고 해파리로.
리치 완전
So
구멍이.
you're saying there are holes in the other rosters, but not your team.
알겠습니다.
야,
너무
되게-
난해하면 안 되겠네요.
되게 솔직해야
네.
선수 느낌이 확실히 듭니다. 자, 템페스트 이제 새로 들어왔고 승리도 가져갔고 팬분들
And of course, with the win today,
각오 간단하게 좀 들어보겠습니다.
Let's hear your last
네.
words and
템페스트
to your
팬분들에게
shout-outs to your fans.
감사한 마음을 드리고 있고요.
네,
그
And I'm
어,
thankful to all the
노력
Tempest fans.
열심히 해가지고 템페스트 꼭 우승할 수 있게 노력하도록
I'll do my
하겠습니다.
best
알겠습니다. 앞으로
to
멋진
for
모습
Tempest to
보여주시길
actually
바라도록
be
하겠습니다.
in the
자,
first
오늘
place.
있었던 경기 결과 살펴보도록
thank you.
하겠습니다.
And that's it for HA82, and this is the result.
Here are our results. 3-1 here for Tempest. They do end up losing the map on Infernal Shrines. Raven with a good comeback there. As you said, the first two games looked a little bit off for Raven, but they really turned it on. Going into the fourth draft, they all-ined on a comp. You could see the theme was there, but the execution, as good as it was, wasn't good enough to defeat the Brightwing counter on the side of Tempest. So this will put Tempest back towards the top of the standings with a 2-0 victory here. And the, obviously having the better win rate than Mighty, since Mighty went to Game 5 with Miracle. That's why they are first over Mighty. And this puts RRR and Raven down at the bottom side of things. Again, next week we will have MVP Black and L5 playing against each other, or not against each other, but playing. And so that is why they are absent from the standings. Had to give the teams that went to the mid-season brawl a week to recover from traveling and jet lag, things of that nature, to preserve this tournament's competitive integrity.
And here we go! Next matchup, as you can see on the screen, match 1 Blossom versus MVP Black with Rich. The question is who will be on the support. We know the answer, but we will not say it until the next Friday. Tune in at the same time, 6 p.m. KST. And match number 2, L5 versus Tempest. This will be crazy.
Should be a good match for sure. I feel like that second one definitely going to be the better one of the night, but who doesn't want to watch Rich back in the meta, or back in the team with Illidan in the meta? You could see some Rich Illidan.
Oh
Who
my.
knows, man? We haven't seen him play in about 6 months of time. He hasn't played since BlizzCon, so 7 months basically since we've seen Rich play a competitive tournament match. He fell down in the semifinals there, took a break, went into streaming. He's back now, and he wants revenge.
Yeah, a lot to talk about before the match, and L5 is also back with the new roster. Should be very, very exciting match coming at you on Friday, and we are done for today with those 2 best-of-5 series. But we'll be back on Friday, as you just saw. Lots of hype matches, but that's it for Korea today. Next up is EU, so keep tuning in to this channel, and we'll see you guys on Friday.